Welcome to A Better HR Business, the podcast that looks at how HR consultants and HR tech firms grow their businesses and how they help their employers to get the best out of their people. Remember, for show notes and downloads, go to www.getmorehrclients.com/podcast. That's getmorehrclients.com/podcast. Okay, let's get started.
Hello, welcome back. Thanks for joining me again today. Nice to have you along. I'm really looking forward to today's chat with Johan van Zutphen. And hopefully I got that right, but he's probably laughing at me quietly in the background. But Johan is the CEO of Robin. So during his master's studies in international business in 2007, Johan established Robin, which was the first Lithuanian agency that recruits Lithuanian staff for Dutch employment agencies. Well, 14 years later, the company Robin has built up a database with over 220,000 candidates, and they've recruited over 20,000 candidates from Lithuania, Latvia, Portugal, Poland, Spain, Romania, Slovakia, and Hungary for the Dutch employment market. So it's a fascinating business you've created there, Johan. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks.
And I must say thank you for doing this in English, because my Dutch is fairly non-existent. It's a pretty tough language, I have to say. I ran a leadership training program once in this beautiful seaside town of, let me try, Scheveningen.
Scheveningen, yeah, very good.
Right.
Yeah, okay. You know, I'm also not speaking Dutch that much. Let's say I'm more used to speak English as well, and also a bit of Lithuanian. And I can tell you that Lithuanian is a bit harder to learn than.
Oh, really? Dutch. Wow. You're used to challenges. And the other thing, before I get into the business stuff, you have to tell me about this motorcycle journey. You went over 28,000 kilometers through Europe, Middle East, Asia. Where did you go? Yeah,
I'm quite passionate about traveling with motorcycles. So I made two long distance trips. So one trip I drove from Lithuania to Malaysia, like over Pakistan, India, and Iran, and a lot of countries that most of people don't go to so often. And then another trip, I made a trip with a little bike from Vilnius to Cape Town, so all the way to Africa. So I'm not afraid of challenges, I would say. And I like the international, like different cultures, like get to know different cultures and dealing with them. And that's also what I use on a day-to-day basis.
I was just going to say, it seems like such a natural fit for you then to build up the business you build up. So yeah, what is Robin? Why did you create it, and what are you doing at the moment?
Yeah, I can do that. So as you introduced, you give already the introduction. We started our business in 2007. Like at that time, so I'm originally from Holland. I went to study to Lithuania, to Vilnius, Lithuania, to study international business. And during the studies, I started this agency, Robin. At that time I was in touch with a Dutch agency, like with the agency that I knew from before, and they were looking like, okay, you're going to Lithuania, maybe you can help us out with finding staff for our agency, and I decided to do this myself, to do this independently, and having them as the first client, and little by little build up this company, and also using experience I have myself by living in another country in the business, like which emotions, which difficulties are people dealing with. Like for me, it's more natural than for someone that has never spent time abroad.
Yeah, it's funny for people who are still employed in-house as an employee of a large company. They never quite understand the feeling of that first dollar, that first euro, that first pound. So when you got that first client, it must have felt great, right? Because it meant I can start to build something.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, our business model is based on every success hour. So each hour that a person works in the Netherlands, then we get paid. So the time that it took to earn a decent living, it was really like a couple of years. Like it's not that you get one client and right away you generate attractive income. At the beginning, you were speaking about like 10, 20, 30 euro per month income.
Wow. So it wasn't a finder's fee. It was a percentage of earnings almost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Wow. It's like, and that's also interesting about our model because this way everybody is pushed to create like satisfied clients, to make people happy, to make sure that they are satisfied in their new environment abroad. Like, because the more satisfied they are, the more the business is earning. It's a little bit different model than most of the
Yeah, so it's pressure to get it right on both sides of the market. Yes, you've got to help the employer, but you've also got to make sure that the employee will be happy there.
Yeah, exactly. And I would say our company is more focused to the employee, like because I believe that as long as the employee is satisfied in this new environment, then the rest of the parties will also be satisfied.
Yeah. You just reminded me, I went to a jobs fair in Spain once, went there with a company to hire people in, and part of the operations were call centers and things. So they naturally have high staff turnover, right?
Yeah.
And so the people are there pitching. So all these job candidates are coming up to the stand and asking about the company, stuff like that. But one of my colleagues, whenever someone came to talk to her, she'd tell them about how bad it was. And these are the things, these are the reasons why you may leave. Now let me tell you about the good stuff. And I did notice over time that the people she had spoken to and had hired as a result of her pitching the company, they had longer retention rates.
Yeah, exactly.
She had prevented that turnover.
Yeah, it's a little bit in our business, like because the thing we are facing most with is like this gap of something that the people expect, like to get in another country. Because it's not only the job, it's as well the living place, the environment, the culture. There's a huge gap between one country and another country, like the work in another country, and we try to make this gap smaller by presenting like a very realistic view of how the people live. Because it's not like they're not going to live in like 5-star hotels. It's like it's the same as in other places. You need to find the place that suits you, and you also should present like how it's going to be like, so that they can make this decision themselves.
So you got amazing numbers now, but back then you didn't, right? You were just starting. So you got a client who said, yes, we need your help to hire these people, find these people. How did you get both sides of the market, as in more clients and also more candidates and people to hire? How did you do both?
So at the beginning, we were always quite good on Google, let's say, like SEO. Like we were providing the right information on our website that is like informative text for potential candidates.
So SEO, yeah.
SEO, exactly. Like just providing them the right information, and this attracted quite a lot of candidates. And so at the beginning, we were only doing this in Lithuania, but when we got already a decent size in Lithuania, we basically grew our market by adding more countries. So first of all, we started as Latvia was the neighboring country, or is the neighboring country. We hired a person from Latvia in our office at that time in Lithuania. Little by little, we added more countries until we saw that, like on a certain moment, we thought, okay, it's better to have local offices to give more the feeling for people to that there's somebody in their country that can help them. So we opened maybe 5 years ago. We opened like 5-6 offices in different countries, and like a little bit before COVID came, we were already making the first steps of moving remote, like moving more remote. We were giving already a little more freedom to the colleagues on when to come to the office or not. And on the moment COVID came, we decided to go totally remote, and we decided to stay remote from that moment, because for us it works much better. Like it creates much more transparency within the company. It's very hard to create really one culture and one working method when you have like different offices.
And over time, I'm guessing there are other methods beyond SEO, because SEO gets more and more crowded, more challenging as other companies are trying to provide information, and maybe the larger firms are trying to do the same sort of stuff. Did you have to introduce new methods to grow the business?
No, I think for us it's more the mostly word of mouth. So you just need to provide the best service on the market, and all the time improve your service, and always like measure what the people are expecting, and just do a little bit more than the people are expecting. It's not only for the candidates, but as well for the clients in the Netherlands. So we don't really like, as looking to the clients in the Netherlands, Germany, and Belgium. We don't really need to do any active sales. Like the clients are coming themselves to us, I would say.
Can I ask, in consulting or any type of business, there's a service level you need to provide, which is good or acceptable, or it is what is required. How do you go that next level, that extra step? Are there small things you do, or is it the way you say stuff? How do you add that magic to the service?
It's something we are putting quite a lot of focus on. We also hired external companies to help us, like providing the next service, like to basically visualize what we do now and visualize the journey of the job seeker and as well of the clients, and interview the clients on a regular basis trying what they are missing, how we can perform better, how other companies are providing better, and then improve our services that way. It's also, we learned that it's better to be a little bit expensive, be of like a high service, than that, because then you have also the resources to do such thing and to provide a better service. So that's it's basically a loop that is like all the time. It's a process that we're all the time working on.
Got it. So how do you justify the higher prices to the clients?
Like by longer durations of stay. If our candidates are staying longer by using the right technology, using the right methods, then they are basically saving money, because each new hire in their firm is costing much more money than the fee they pay us, basically.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. So let me ask you about your typical clients, in case someone listening to this is thinking, oh, I either work at a place like that, or I could refer in those types of companies. Are there ideal companies for your business?
In general, our most clients are employment agencies in the Netherlands, Germany, and Belgium that are open for like international people. Like we want to, like right now, there is a big lack of people everywhere in the market, I would say. So now we are quite covered. Like looking to the clients we have, we are really made a selective group of clients that are following the same vision as we have and have the same values of working. But we are growing in the amount of job offers, like providing different types of job offers, because people don't when they want some specific when they have some specific skills, or they want to work, for example, as a cook or a chef, but we don't provide this job, then it's of added value to search for clients that provide these type of jobs. So now we are more looking in diversification of the types of jobs that we provide.
And why did you choose to go for supplying agencies rather than the end user, which is the company, the client itself?
That's a good question. It's also one of our like downsides, I would say, because we can control all the process up to the moment the person arrives in the Netherlands or in Germany or Belgium, but we are not in control of what is happening there. So we also see that often the candidates are very satisfied about our service, but are not the same satisfied about the client service, because we also don't have the full access to what is happening there, and we cannot 100% control this. But we don't have any. We are not physically established in the Netherlands or in Belgium or in Germany. So for us, it's very hard to control like the accommodation, like to make sure that the accommodation is in good condition. That's why we decided to have mainly agencies as our clients, so that we can secure that a certain limit of like a certain level of accommodation is provided. But who knows what the future brings.
That's really interesting. Yeah. So I'm just trying to think of an analogy, because some of the global companies like the McDonald's, for instance, they control their supply chain so carefully. Yeah. If you think of potatoes for their chips, it has to be certain size, weight, coloring, all that kind of stuff. And then the way it is delivered is done in a certain fashion through to the restaurant. But they're so careful with their supply chain. So it's very interesting to hear you talk about, in a way, managing your supply chain or the delivery process, so that it's a terrible way to phrase it, but the people are the product. And so you need to support them and make sure that they're happy, these candidates, because as you said, word of mouth is such an important part. So it's very interesting to hear you talk about the fact that you're trying to work with the agencies to make sure that they maintain very high standards.
Yeah, and who knows in the future that we will be more ourselves in control of accommodation and even the job. Like that's when we can create the full journey for the people. When we are in control of creating the full journey, I think it will be of a higher added value also for candidates.
So the next time we talk, we'll be talking about Robin Construction Company. Is that right?
There might be.
Yeah. Fascinating. So what in general would be your advice to others listening on how to grow a successful HR-related business?
I think one of the keys of our business is that we give a lot of freedom to our colleagues. Like we give them and learn how to give away responsibilities. Like as a management, you should attract people that follow the same principles, that have the same values, and follow the same vision. People that don't believe in your vision, they should not work for your company. Basically, I think it's something that should be more aggressively approached, maybe, like because often companies have a vision, but most of the colleagues don't really relate to the vision, and I think then it's very hard to give also freedom to colleagues because they are on a different level than you are as a manager, as an employer. So I think give all the freedom to the colleagues and to make sure that they feel responsible in doing their job, and then you can see also that them feeling more accountable and producing more, basically, and without micromanaging people.
Yeah, great advice.
And as well for any manager, they should also learn how to give away responsibilities, so that on the moment the person falls away, also somebody else can pick up. Plus, other colleagues can develop themselves in the direction they want to. Like it keeps a pattern of development within the company.
Easy to say, hard to do.
No, I don't think so.
No?
No. That's I think it's the culture that you set in the company.
Yeah. And what about in terms of growing, acquiring new clients and things like that for companies listening? You mentioned SEO and word of mouth. Would they be the main ones you'd focus on for them to grow their own respective businesses, whether that's recruitment or training or general HR consulting? What's your advice there?
Focus mainly to existing clients, like people that you know and that you cooperate already with successful. Like, because often you can grow much more with existing clients than trying to attain new clients. It's also much more expensive, like to get more new clients. So that's also what we do. We used to have more clients. Now we actually are downsizing the amount of clients and more putting focus to a few clients to grow with them, because it's very labor intensive to have more clients. It's less labor intensive and you get more out of working with less clients, but a little bit like in a deeper relationship.
I think you just described the plot line for that Tom Cruise movie, Jerry Maguire. Fewer clients, but better relationships.
Okay, yeah, could be.
But for people listening, that's wonderful advice. That in the world of marketing and business growth and all that sort of stuff, people get obsessed with new clients. But as Johan just said, it's around treasuring the clients you have and helping them grow, because that will be a virtuous circle.
Yeah, and you also need to learn how to say no then to new clients. Like if you feel that they don't feel that they don't share the same values, to simply say no, sorry, we don't want to do business.
How do you say that?
You can't say like that. Like I feel that, this is not. I feel that we are on a different path, or different way of doing business. Like you see the way of doing business differently as they do, and focus to your own things.
That's good. Yep. So Johan, you've seen so much. You created an amazing business, and it was a tough road at the start, and it's always a challenge to continue. How do you see the world of work evolving? We've been through so much. What do you see coming down the road?
So I hope on more globalization. I mean, that's what we strive for, and more diversification. That, for example, Dutch companies are stepping away from the Dutch language because often there are there's better talent available elsewhere. This language barrier should not be a barrier, if you ask me. So this globalization and diversification is, of course, of big added value, if you ask me. But I think in general also there will be much more freedom, and people are more choosing the new job not according to the role, but according to the vision of the company. How do you want to contribute to the world, and do you feel connected to that? Because a role you can learn, within most of the roles you can learn with a relatively short time. But it's so important to feel for the vision and to feel connected to the company. And then in the freedom that is given to you, I think in the future the employers will give much more freedom. There will not be strict working schedules or strict working place from where you need to work. It's more about how does each colleague want to contribute to the vision of the company, and if you contribute and you perform well in your job, doesn't matter how much you work or from where you work, etc.
One more question on that. How do you support, encourage the right culture and vision values when you are remote?
It's like we work with OKRs. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think OKRs is a great framework for this because you set very clear objectives for everyone within the team, and every day, like each team has meetings on like how to contribute to those objectives. So there is, as long as the lines are clear and clear where you want to contribute to, and then it doesn't matter if you work remote or not. Like the results will show the performance of each colleague. So I don't, So the fact of working in the office or not doesn't really matter looking to this.
Yeah. So the OKRs, that supports that myth. So Johan, you've shared so much great value insights, and I love your story. If people want to learn more about Robin, the business, whether that's to refer clients or if they're an agency in not quite the Benelux region, could you just define the region again for us?
So we are mainly active in the Netherlands, Belgium, and Germany. Mm-hmm. But we also want to think bigger, and if we can contribute to companies and to people and create a more unified world, let's say, then it doesn't really matter where the client is from. If we see that we can be of added value, where we can really improve the lives of people by providing a job in another country, then it doesn't need to be the Netherlands or Germany or Belgium. Then
well, I mean, you started with one client and have grown to many thousands of candidates and companies in various countries, and you've got a process where you have a very clear vision and the values and the way you support your people, and they support the business. A very virtuous loop, a very virtuous circle. I can't see why it couldn't expand to other countries. So.
What I still would like to add, I think, looking to the vision of the company and a certain culture in the company, we are selecting people that join our team. Most of them are expats themselves, and they were living or are living abroad, so it comes very natural. It's a very natural match, I would say. The type of people in our business is. We are very similar to each other, but from different countries and different backgrounds.
And with your preference for motorcycle journeys, you probably catch up with them anyway.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I try to do. Yeah.
So, if people listening want to refer clients, work with you, learn more about the company, what should they do next?
They can contact me. They can contact me on Johan at robin.jobs.
And that's the website as well, www.robin, so robin.jobs, Jobs. Yep.
Correct.
Excellent. Johan, thank you very much for sharing your advice and your story today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was a pleasure speaking to you.
Thanks for joining us today on A Better HR Business, the podcast that explores the world of HR consulting and HR tech businesses. For show notes and downloads, go to www.getmorehrclients.com/podcast. That's getmorehrclients.com/podcast. Remember to subscribe and share the show with any friends who are busy growing a HR business. Thanks, and see you next time.